Welcome to my next Lost. Season 4 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already seen the show Lost 3 other times. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, top 5 for sure, but I'm not the only one that's watching Lost currently. The legendary Crazy Coffee Man, who you see in my comment section for Breaking Bad stuff, Lucifer stuff, Dexter Original Sin, Dexter New Blood, and soon-to-be Dexter Resurrection, in addition to Lost, is actually watching Lost for the very first time. So, join us on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comment section. However, I don't want to see any spoilers past this particular episode. So with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 4, Episode 3. The title of this episode is called The Economist, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. Sayid is praying near the helicopter while Jack and Miles argue about what to do about Ben and Charlotte. Miles wants to retrieve them, but Jack is more cautious. Sayid goes to Naomi's body, closes her eyes, and covers her with a blanket. He finds a metal bracelet she wears and takes it off on her wrist and reads the inscription on it, N, I'll always be with you, RG. Sayid offers to go and retrieve Charlotte from Locke. He believes that he can do it safely without violence, while Jack will only cause violence. He gets Frank Lapidus to promise that if he brings Charlotte back, Frank will take Sayid to the freighter. We have our flash forward scene of Sayid, who's playing golf in another place. A man approaches on a golf cart and begins a conversation. Sayid seems reluctant to converse with him, saying that they have paid a premium for privacy at the club. The man asks Sayid what he does for a living. Sayid replies that he lives off of a settlement he received from Oceanic Airlines, revealing that he was one of the Oceanic Six. Upon hearing this, the man becomes very nervous, but they play out their whole shots for a $100 wager, which the man wins. When the man goes to leave, Sayid calls him by his name and shoots him dead. Sayid calmly walks away. Sayid walks into a swank bar, or swank cafe in Berlin, Germany during the winter. The only empty seat is at a table where a blonde woman is working on her laptop. Sayid asks her for directions. She gives them to him in North American English and introduces herself as Elsa. When Sayid asks her what she does, she tells him that she works as a personal assistant for an economist. She carries a pager, which he uses to alert her when she's in Germany and needs her services, which is only a few times a year. She asks Sayid what he does. He tells her that he's a corporate headhunter and will only be in town for 1 week. She remarks that Sayid seems familiar to her somehow. He offers to take her to dinner that night. After leaving the cafe, Sayid calls someone on a cell phone saying that he has made contact and then throws the phone in the trash. Miles and Sayid prepare to retrieve Charlotte. We're back to the island, of course. I didn't put a space after my last paragraph. Locke and his group are trekking through the jungle. Sawyer suggests torturing Ben to find out who Ben's spy is on the freighter, but Locke thinks it would be pointless. When they arrive at the place where Jacob's cabin used to be, Locke finds the ash on the ground that was there on his first visit, but there's no trace of the cabin. Hurley awkwardly expresses his disagreement over Locke's plan to keep Charlotte as a hostage, but Locke admonishes him and makes it clear that he is making the decisions. They head on to the barracks. Jack suggests that Kate go with Sayid and Miles because Jack doesn't trust Locke. Jack's worried about Locke killing Kate, and Jack says Sawyer won't let him. Frank finds out that Sayid was a torturer from Jack And then we have another flash forward. Saeed and Elsa get ready to leave her place to go to the opera. They seem affectionate, and Elsa impulsively decides to leave her pager at home, saying that she'd rather just spend the evening with Saeed and doesn't care if her boss calls her that night. Saeed offers to carry the pager for her, saying that he wouldn't want her to be fired on his account. When Elsa asks why he's still in Berlin, presumably it's been longer than a week, Saeed tells her that his job is taking longer than expected. She wisely tells him that she wishes that she was the reason why he was staying. Daniel Faraday takes the opportunity to perform an experiment. He sets up a tripod with a beacon and a clock on it. Faraday's a little weird. Then asks Frank Lapidus for his phone so he can call Regina. Frank hands it over on the condition that he hang up if Minkowski answers. Daniel Faraday agrees, and the phone rings and phones the freighter. Getting Regina, he asks her to send a payload, a small rocket, to his beacon. Regina does so and begins counting down the arrival of the payload in rapid 5-kilometer steps, starting with 40 kilometers. But when she reaches 0 and the rocket has not arrived, Regina claims that is weird, while Daniel Faraday responds that is far more than weird. Saeed, Kate, and Miles reach the barracks and find it deserted. They sneak around the settlement and hear muffled banging, which leads them to Hurley tied up in a closet. Hurley tells them that he was left behind by John Locke. He says that he tried to talk Locke out of threatening Charlotte, and that Locke tied Hurley up in the closet. Miles calls Hurley Tubby, and Hurley says, "Oh great, the ship brought us another Sawyer." That's pretty funny. Hurley says that he doesn't know where the rest of Locke's group went, but that they were going to stop at Ben's house before they left. Jack finds out that Frank Lapidus is a Yankees fan when he's a Red Sox fan. And then sometime later, to Daniel's surprise, the rocket finally arrives. Daniel compares the time on the digital clock from the rocket with the one from the tripod and sees that they are different by 31 minutes and 18 seconds. Concerned, he says to himself, "Oh no, this is not good." And then we have Juliet and Desmond return. Saeed, Miles, and Kate head to Ben's house and begin to search it. While Kate searches the bedroom, Saeed finds a walk-in closet off to the living room. In the walk-in closet are sets of nice clothing and several barrels. And opening the drawer, Saeed finds bundles of banknotes, different countries, and several passports, also from different nationalities, presumably all Ben's. The Swiss passport Saeed opens lists his name as Dean Moritari. I might be saying that wrong. Kate is searching under Ben's bed when she sees a pair of feet enter the room. When she stands up, she sees Sawyer. He motions for her to be quiet, but Kate yells for Saeed. When Saeed runs out of the closet, he finds Locke pointing a gun at him. Russo has a gun pointed at Miles. As the three of them are herded together, Hurley appears and apologizes for lying. So Hurley set them up. Locke takes Saeed to the other's game room where Kate has been imprisoned before. There, Saeed finds Ben. Meanwhile, Kate and Sawyer talk about why they decided to go with Jack and Locke, respectively. When Kate explains she went with Jack because she believes the freighter can get them off the island, Sawyer asks why she's so anxious to go back to prison, adds that he has nothing to go back to himself, and implies that they could live a better life together in the barracks. Kate responds by asking how long they would be able to play house. Sawyer responds, "Why don't we find out?" Locke apologizes to Saeed for the ruse, saying it was all to find whether or not the three of them were alone. Saeed indicates that he does not trust Miles and that his people don't either, and suggests that he can find out more if he takes Charlotte and goes to the freighter. Locke says he won't turn over Charlotte for nothing, and Saeed hints at a deal. Saeed and Elsa, their flash forward, are in bed together after sex. Elsa tells Saeed that she's growing tired of not knowing anything about his job or background. She loves him and that they shouldn't have any secrets. Saeed agrees and says he will tell her everything, but her pager goes off. She scrambles to dress and go to her boss. Saeed asks where she's going, and she tells him the name of the hotel. Saeed tells her that she must leave Berlin and that people will be asking questions about what happened to her boss. At this point, Elsa realizes that their meeting was not about her, but a way for Saeed to get to her boss and asks whether he is going to kill him. Saeed says he is not an economist. Upset, she retreats into the bathroom. Still on the bed, Saeed tries to talk to her. She turns around with a gun in her hand and shoots Saeed. As Saeed lies bleeding on the bed, Elsa, still in the bathroom, calls someone and reports that she hasn't killed Saeed and that now he will not tell her the name of his employer. As she talks, Saeed grabs something and throws it against the mirror near the bathroom door, which she was using to watch Saeed. When she rushes out of the bathroom, he lunges for his gun and shoots her. He struggles over to her body and weeps. Elsa dies. As Saeed holds her, he notices a bracelet, similar to one that Naomi had. Daniel Faraday takes Frank aside and tells him that no matter what happens, they must fly on the exact same bearing they used to get to the island. Frank agrees to do as Daniel Faraday says and lifts off, piloting the chopper off the island. Well, not yet, technically. Desmond confronts Frank about the picture Naomi had of him and Penelope or Penny. Frank refuses to answer. Desmond gets angry and demands that Frank take him to the freighter, and on the next flight, that's what he wants. Frank agrees. After they finish talking, Saeed and Charlotte come over the hill. Kate and Miles are nowhere to be seen. When Jack asks what happened to Kate, Saeed tells him that she decided to stay with Locke. Saeed says that he traded Miles for Charlotte. Frank accuses him of being dishonest about their deal, but nonetheless agrees to take Saeed to the freighter because Miles was nothing but a pain in my ass anyway. Frank offers to take a third person, but both Charlotte and Daniel want to remain on the island for now. Saeed insists that they take Naomi's body. And then we have another flash forward. Saeed stumbles into a dimly lit veterinarian's office. He proceeds into the surgery where a voice tells him to take off his jacket. Saeed sits down and the person begins treating the wound and questioning him about what Elsa's objective had been. Saeed tells him that she had been trying to find out his and his employer's identity. Benjamin Linus is the one that's working on Saeed as he's trying to fix up his shoulder. When Saeed brokenly expresses remorse for having killed Elsa, Ben tells him these people don't deserve our sympathies, asking Saeed if he remembers what they did the last time you followed your heart instead of your gun. Saeed indicates that it was through this event that Ben recruited him. Ben reminds him that the work they are doing is to protect Saeed's friends. He says that he has another target for Saeed's list. Saeed observes that they now know he is coming, to which Ben replies, good, ending this episode a loss. So I'm going to give it an 8.6 out of 10. Character of the episode, Saeed, and I liked Elsa in this episode. She was pretty good. Ben is good too, but not enough scenes from Ben in this one. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. What would you rate it? Who would be your character of the episode? And anything else that you want to add as well. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel. You're watching the video anyway. I want to get to 100,000 subscribers, so help me out with that. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.